Hello, this is Anthony. Let's walk and talk. So, today we're going to have a discussion about what is ego. We talk about ego a lot. We talk about the mind a lot. We talk about connection and consciousness a lot on this channel. And part of that is because it's important to understand all of these things in order to get to a place of wholeness and completeness, and in order to get to a place of sovereignty on the journey. So I'm going to give you the brief rundown on my perspective of these things. Hopefully it'll connect with you and you'll better understand it. But what ends up happening, and you'll have to remember this as you read it, listen to this, is the ego always is going to fight against and defend against things that expose it, because by exposing it, you see it. By seeing it, then it allows you to, just like anything, just even like an aspect that is not you, it allows you to peel back the layers and pull yourself out of it. And this is an important aspect of the journey. You see, the devil through the Bible is the lower level earthly pleasures. What the devil actually represents is it represents separation. Okay? Now, I can go into this in depth, but even when you look at the stories of the Bible, you see that it for exactly what it is. You see it as the fall from heaven. The separation, I'll sit right here for this conversation. The separation of from God. The separation from consciousness. And when you make that connection, you understand then that when you act or in ego, what you're actually doing is you are acting in separation. You are creating a separate self, a separate identity. You are aligning more with the devil. Now, it's interesting because even in the Bible, it discusses how the devil will tempt you and trick you in different ways. And it's funny how the ego does the exact same thing. With its desire to survive and stay alive, it will come from different angles. Meaning, you might listen to this message and go, yes, I am not for the devil, I am for God, and in that I'm going to focus only on God. Well, you have to understand that there's ego in that too, because that's how tricky the ego is. Biblically, that's how tricky the devil is, Satan is. So it's important to understand these concepts, because without understanding these concepts, what happens is you are subject to being a slave to them. On this channel, we use a lot the discussion about people thinking they're in a prison, and the reality is you are in a prison. Everyone here is in a prison, but what you don't understand is that you are the guard, and you are the warden of that prison. So you are not just the prisoner; you are the warden and the guard, and you have the keys. You can escape at any time that you choose, but you have to choose to do it. And by escaping, what you're essentially doing is you're connecting to the all. So why is the ego and the devil, why are they so tied together? Because it is I am angry, I am mad, I am happy, I am sad. It is the separation. It is the move away from unity into I am an individual, having an individual experience. It is what gives perspective. But that perspective that it gives is a different perspective. You see, when you have a perspective from oneness, you're getting a perspective from consciousness versus a perspective that is shifted from that of the ego or the self and separation. You're going to get two different perspectives from that. These concepts are important to understand, because when you find yourself in ego or being controlled by the devil, for you, those of you who are Christians, you begin to understand that this is a choice. It is your choice. And this is where the suffering exists. You see, even trying to explain these concepts, sometimes even to Christians, they have difficulty with it. You see, what happens is, when you look at the life of, for instance, Buddha or Jesus, they didn't own earthly possessions. They just had what they needed to sustain them. And essentially they traveled the world and tried to teach people how to find that connection and happiness, that bliss, not happiness, it's bliss. Because all emotions will continue to rise in the human experience regardless of where you're at on the journey. It's just understanding those emotions, why they're there and what they're there to help you to learn. When you understand these things, what you understand then is that without having taken the moment of having that sovereignty, of having that complete trust where you don't know where you're going, you're just going because you feel led to a place. When you take those moments to connect to the divine internally, because that's where the connection point is, not externally. When you understand these things, then you start to understand and see the patterns. You start to understand and see the ego and how it operates and how it creates separation. Then the ego starts getting even trickier because it starts trying to find different ways to survive. And so it'll come in different ways, but eventually, as you stay connected to consciousness and to the all, you'll begin to see those little things. And then you'll begin to understand what they are and why they're there. And then you'll begin to be able to remain more balanced and integrate those things so that they don't run and control your life. So that when you see them, you can go, oh, I see that. That's the ego. It wants this or that. I recognize its need for that, but it is not who I am. See, most people, they don't embody or couple their life to what Jesus said and the journey of Jesus. What they really are tied to is more of a Paulism or Paul's philosophy. And understanding this, you see that there's a dichotomy even in that. You see, Jesus didn't say, buy a house, buy a car, have kids, and there you will find me. Jesus told his followers, leave all those things behind. Come with me, and you shall drink from the everlasting spring, and you shall never thirst again. You see, there's nothing wrong with having the house, the car, the kids, and all those things. But when you go down that path and you don't understand the all, you don't understand your sovereignty, it is very easy then to get locked into the ego. It's very easy to get locked into the roller coaster. It's very easy to be pulled out of balance and into the whims of life. When you take this journey, you start to see how much of the human experience is programmed. And when you see that programming, you start to understand that you are just consciousness. You are essentially God exploring self. And in doing that, that is what creates all of this quote unquote programming. You see, this has been going on for all of human existence. Now it happens with a phone. Now it happens with apps. Now it happens with television. Before it happened with radio. And before that it happened with, printing presses and papers and newspapers. Before that it happened in the town square. And before that it happened in churches. Before that it happened through kings and money and conquerors. You see, this has been going on for all of human existence. So this isn't a new concept. It's just that your experience has been hijacked and programmed in a different way because you have access to your subconscious from your phone that is with you 24/7. And until you become conscious of how this stuff works, it's going to continue to pull you and suck you into ego, suck you into separation. It's important to understand this because then you can see it, notice it, and you can start to pull away from it, reframe it, detach from it. When you can do that, that's when you start to become truly sovereign. That's when you start to be able to see reality for what it is, observe it, and then experience it in a new and a fresh way. That is much more fulfilling. That brings much more connection with consciousness, with God, with other beings around you, with that joy and bliss that comes with that, with who you existentially are. But what say you? How do you feel about that? I know we talk about programming a lot. I know we talk about ego a lot on this channel, but does that resonate with you? As always, if you enjoy this content, please like, share, and subscribe. I am truly grateful. As always, I wish you peace, love, and light. And I hope you have the most incredible and amazing day.